All right. Who do we feel sympathy for this week? Okay. Drake Bell. All right. So we did a video in the past on Drake Bell where it looked like he was grooming a young child and he got in some trouble for that. And it was like, no, not Drake, because the outrage was, why do you need to do that? Aren't you married with a kid and everything? And, we knew you from the Amanda show and Drake and Josh and all that. But what we didn't know is a lot of these child stars have difficulty transitioning from acting as a small child to adulthood because they kind of grew up fast, right? It's no secret, and sorry, not sorry if I'm telling it to you, but a lot of these guys and gals, if they play teenagers on the show, they're probably in their 20s. If they play, elementary school kids, they're probably teenagers at that point. Because, they're still actors and actresses. They've got to learn lines, and there's a learning curve there. And, you assume that they're going to grow into these roles as time goes on. 1-2 years in sitcom world might be 5 years in, real life. So you just don't know how that works out. Or it could be the other way around. I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. The ages, they're adaptable for the audiences, right? That said, some of these guys get assaulted sexually and, they get taken advantage of, their money, all of that stuff happens. And there's a documentary called Quiet on the Set, and it's about some of these young child stars, mainly Nickelodeon, and you learn what they went through and how some of the people they trusted, like Dan Schneider, who, is credited with creating all of these, Nickelodeon shows, Drake and Josh, Keenan and Kel, Amanda Show, all that. Zoe 101, Victoria. So he basically was their, Michael Jordan, if you will. Not to compare Dan Schneider to Michael Jordan, but you get what I'm saying. He created all these shows, and they were all hits. They were all hits, man. I watched all of them, pretty much. And you notice when you get older, it's like, wait, some of these people didn't come back because they had issues, right? Jeanette McCurdy didn't want to come back, and then you're like, well, who is she talking about and why? Because, she vaguely talked about some of the people she may have had issues with and why it was difficult for her. And then you start seeing scenes in iCarly where their feet are up in the air and stuff like that, and it's like, whoa, this is a little perverted, this is a little weird. So taking it back to Drake, and no, not that Drake, Drake Bell. I said that right this time. I know some of y'all give me flack for the Diddy video. Drake Bell, not to be confused with Aubrey Graham. We're talking Drake Bell. I never knew it was that simple either, but found a way. See what I did there? But if you open up your mind and see what's inside, it's going to take some time to realize that Drake, somebody touched him. This guy named Brian, who was on the show, started following him, and at first he thought it was just innocent. He thought it was, the guy just like hanging out with him because he was a grown, man child, and they were on the show. And usually you hang out with people that you tend to see often, right? You don't hang out with every coworker, but the ones that you actually like, maybe they show up at the parties and everything. Maybe y'all show up at each other's houses and hang out. So maybe Drake thought of it that way. Drake's dad, however, thought something was a little funny. And by the time Drake caught on, it was a little too late because he woke up and this guy was touching him. Now, I won't get into all the details. Drake was brave enough to share all that. Y'all can see the documentary yourself. It is pretty graphic. And Drake was able to say all this with a straight face without crying. I don't know how he was able to do it. But I do feel sympathy for him this go around. And it feels like what you see is a pattern. Hurt people hurt people. So with him, that happening to him, it was a little more... It was a little more telling that, he might be after younger people because this happened to him. So they reached out to Josh Peck, because it was Brian Peck. I don't think there's a relation. Brian Peck touched Drake Bell, and Josh Peck No relation, I don't think. They reached out to him for comment. He really didn't have any comments. Maybe he didn't know, and a lot of the stuff was secret. But yeah, Nickelodeon hasn't really said much either. There's a lot of craziness going on out there. That really shook me to my core somewhat, because it was like, that was my childhood right there. I had no idea all this stuff was going on. And it's like once you get in a rhythm of something, you don't want to let go of it. On a regular level, it's kind of like losing your job. If your job was a good job and you got paid well, you'd fight to keep that if it meant, oh, you got to go back to this other job that doesn't pay quite as well or have these perks. And that's without even having any fame. But you get a little bit of power and a little bit more control over your image and what you do. Maybe you don't say anything. So for you people who are like, well, these women never say anything. Drake didn't say anything. Drake is a guy. He didn't say anything until years later, until now. And hopefully some of you guys who point out this, you can see, like, it's not exclusive to women. It's some young men who, it's like, hey, there's some shame here. There's some embarrassment. He didn't want to hurt his career, right? This is supposedly happening like right when Drake and Josh started. So imagine that show doesn't continue at all. Because he, comes forward and says all this stuff sooner. You just never really know. That said, this was a short one. I didn't have much to add there, but I did want to say that because Drake, if you ever see these videos, I know I gave you a bad break, a hard time on the other one, and I'm not apologizing for that. However, in light of things, I am showing some sympathy to you here based off of what happened. So let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I will see you in the next one. I am out. Hey, how are you? I'm Captain Sensation. I'm on Twitch and YouTube. Enjoy my creations. Movie reviews, let's plays, they're amazing. Stay tuned for more. I'm Captain Sensation. Sympathy for Pokemon and Atari. Wait, here's more funny Mario Party. Games that are chores and some that are gnarly. Fun with Gen X version Rose and Kari. Woo! There we go, y'all. Been waiting to do that for a little bit. But hey, see y'all on the next one.